Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 AI bot cast. We have got ourselves what should be another good one here today. I know I say that every time, but honestly, with these bot author recommended games, most of them are pretty darn good. And so, without further ado, in the top right, in the red trunks, it's Ender. Ender is a fighter of a bot, just a pretty straightforward bot for the most part, decently well-rounded. And taking on Ender, it's going to be DadBot. Definitely a good bot. I've cast a few times before. It doesn't quite stick out in memory as quite as much, but I believe it played fairly straight up as well. And so we'll just have to see where this is going to go between these two. We're on the map Ancient Cistern, the AI edition. We got the music going. We got an expand going up for each bot. It is a Zerg versus Zerg, but more importantly, it's a bot versus bot as these two drones chase each other around. The blue guy saying, "Get out of here, red guy. This place is for blue guys only." And so yeah, before we get too far into this game, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to go ahead, take a look at that like button. Just look at it, look at how many likes are on this video, and add one more to it. While you're at it, leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot games. Consider joining the Discord, which is also linked down there. Become a YouTube member if you do want to support the channel. That's the best way. You can use the join button there and get various perks. Then there is one other thing. Yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon. Get notified whenever I put up a new video or announcement, that sort of thing. And yeah, now that we've got that out of the way, we've got the game going decent. Starting to speed up a little bit. Like all games of StarCraft 2, there's a little bit of calm before the storm, for the most part, unless you're looking at a cheesy cheese. But as DadBot just said, we're looking at a ZVZ macro build 0215, which I assume means 2:15, the timer on the clock. Now, I wonder if that is for seeing what the opponent's doing or for what it's doing. I assume that's for what DadBot's doing. And yeah, we've got overlords flying around the map, interestingly enough. Interesting path for that overlord. Ender's got one sneaking on in too. Lings now can run back and forth, try and get some scouting. A drone gets pulled onto that Ling, but then turns around, then goes back after it, looking for blood. DadBot, not sure what it was looking for. Does find a lair actually starting to morph for Ender, and that's quite a quick lair in a ZVZ. 3-minute lair? That's very, very early, and very, very greedy, realistically. In a ZVZ, if you're going for a lair that quick when you don't have Ling speed, you don't have a Roach Warren, you don't have a Baneling Nest, that is just asking. That's just asking for trouble. Now, of course, Ender's got a little bit of scouting off, but I feel like that's the kind of thing that potentially a Ling Flood would do well against. And I know we don't see that too often in ZVZs, but maybe that's something that a bot author could throw on in there. Anyway, now that that lair's done, the Overlord just immediately starts pooping, or puking. I think it's pooping, but anyway, we have got Hydroden on the way for Ender, so going for a very quick lair into Hydroden. That's an odd choice. I wonder if it's, like, it shouldn't be fast lurkers or anything like that, just skipping the Lings, and it actually is lurkers, so that's very interesting. And then we have got a Dropper Lord now on the way here for Ender, so Ender is one of the bots that does like to utilize that strategy to various levels of success. And then we have, yeah, just got that lurker. So it's probably going to be drop lurkers, I imagine. And lurkers are one of those things. They're a burrowed unit, so they require a very fine-tuned response to deal with. But while Ender's going for this is incredibly greedy. There's the chance that DadBot could just go for an attack. We're not really seeing it, as just Lings are poking right now. There's a single, there are now more than a few single Hydras popping on out. 5 in total. We see DadBot saying, "Careful, I think your Roach stepped on quicksand." However, there's actually no roaches out yet. Just DadBot's roaches. We see Burrow now on the way for DadBot 2. A lair for itself getting up, but yeah, it's a lot of Hydras on the way for Ender. Just an awkward, well, it is a little awkward, but it's one of those things. It's a strategy that you can get away with in your dreams, but it looks like Ender's actually getting away with it today. Okay, so then Ender, no lurkers have been made just yet. Where is that Dropper Lord? Just still slowly moving across the map. But now we're seeing these lurkers get made, and lurkers are a tool that you want in a ZVZ. Just Ender skipped all the tools prior to it, and was like, yeah, this is fine. Somehow I've already got 4, soon to be 5 lurkers out by the 6-minute mark in the game, which is just insane. DadBot is saying EU, I'm not sure what exactly that means. Lurker MP, Lurker burrowed, so I assume that's a chat tag there, that it is scouting what Ender has, which is very impressive that DadBot's got the reaction set up for that. Economy-wise, DadBot is in the lead, ahead by about 10 drones. That's not surprising when Ender went straight towards 1 tech, but we'll see. How is DadBot going to deal with this? It looks like it's heading towards its own lurkers as it gets up its own Hydra Den, and this could be a wacky game here today. Now we see, yeah, just lots of gases getting up. The Hydra count is going up for Ender, so it's not like it's going just to lurkers. It's got some Hydras sprinkled in the mix, but I'm curious if it'll literally make just all its Hydras into lurkers. We could see a lurker world record number today out of Ender, which is awesome because I don't think this is exactly the type of thing Ender always goes for, so changing up the strategy a little bit is awesome to see. We've got a Baneling Nest on the way as well. Not sure how much that'll get used. We've got a Lurker Den now on the way for DadBot. DadBot getting up a 5th base, while Ender still chills on 3 bases. Isn't a great sign for the economy of the Red Zerg, and these Lurkers, they're kind of required to get some damage or some efficiency before the game goes much later, because eventually they'll both just have lurkers and Ender will be down 2 bases. So we do see Ender starting to move across the map. Hydras and lurkers hitting the 4th base of DadBot. Looks like these Roaches and Ravagers a bit unsure how to engage in this. How many Overseers is there for DadBot? There is 2 flying around. There is, of course, the Corrosive Biles, which are a very powerful tool when it comes to dealing with lurkers. In fact, one of Zerg's best tools. Now, Ender can potentially unburrow these lurkers, but so far we're not seeing too much of that happening, as the lurkers are just winning on out. DadBot really far down on supply. It's now getting out its own Hydras. But look at this, there's a lurker in its natural. There's no Overseer assigned to detect this, so this lurker is just reigning free. While this is going on, I mean, Ender is still just on 3 bases, potentially looking at a 4th base, not dealing with this burrowed Ling. So, but then there's still just this one lurker. Where are those Overseers? They're just chilling at the 4th base, so we are seeing a bit of a flaw in DadBot's defense. It's got so many drones burrowed here, just contained on its ramp. For some reason, it is not realizing this lurker is a threat, not dealing with it. It's bouncing back and forth. And it just goes to show how even good bots like DadBot have a hard time dealing with this at times. It's a programming nightmare. Okay, DadBot now moving across the map, still on its own creep a little bit. It's got a very far forward base, but it's still got this one base causing it trouble. No Overseers coming forward. It's got a Ravagers running around, but how many drones are burrowed? It's got to be at least like half its drones that are just burrowed here, trapped by this lurker. The lurker keeps shooting at the Queen. The Queen is just floundering. DadBot's still just hanging out on its front. Only 2 Overseers. This is the kind of thing, if your opponent has lurkers, like, you almost need to assign some kind of detection to every base, whether it be a Spore or an Overseer. There is a Ravager out now, so we could potentially see a Corrosive Bile, but we're not seeing that. The drones just have to reburrow. Running over lurkers is not a good thing for drones, and while it seemed that DadBot was in a pretty decent spot early in this game, all it takes is one lurker that's not properly countered to really bug out a bot. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Corrosive Vials are being used trying to hit the lings, but they're not being used on that lurker on the ramp, which is very unfortunate. We'll see if this guy's going to eventually do it, but he's not. He's just saving his Corrosive Vial. Where are the Overseers? Is an Overseer going to finally come back? Nope, still just hanging out at the 4th base. The lurker is going to sit here till the end of time. Oh, there's a Corrosive Vial, almost hits the ling. Nope, not quite though. That ling could have cost that lurker its life, but I mean, we take a look and DadBot is still losing so much. How many kills does this guy have? 33 kills. This is the little lurker that could. DadBot is the bot that just couldn't even deal with it. I just can't deal with this right now. And as a result, we see Ender doing pretty good. Still only on 3 bases, having a hard time dealing with these burrowed lings, so it's not been able to take another base, even though it's trying. So both these bots kind of failing at dealing with burrowed units at the minute. And that is not a good thing when you're playing against a Zerg that's got burrowed research. Units are being dropped out of these dropper lords. I mean, looks like DadBot's army is still grouped up pretty good. There's lurkers now moving in towards the natural though, and if one causes such a problem, here comes in an Overseer, but now all of a sudden there's not enough units in position to deal with this. So we'll see if DadBot can clean this up or not. It's got a lot of its units being pulled back and forth. Some of its units are coming back, starting to clean up some of these lurkers. There's a few roaches out now. We'll see if this lurker is going to perish or not. It's at 44 kills now. In comes a Ravager. Oh, I think it's going to go down. Oh, the lurker does finally perish. But DadBot has taken untold amounts of damage from that lurker. It is holding on, though. It's still got a base lead, a very significant one, as it's got that 4th up, whereas Ender's just sitting on 2 bases because it can't clean up this burrowed ling, which is very unfortunate. Not sure what's happening there. Does Ender have Overseers? It does have 8, and they're all over the place, but it's just not assigning units to deal with that burrowed ling. Something that you definitely need to do if you're a Zerg player. Now there's a lurker, 2 lurkers actually that have somehow made it into the main base of DadBot. That's not good. That's where all the tech is for DadBot. We've got a queen coming in, but no units are coming in to deal with this. So it's kind of a question. Will these 2 lurkers kill DadBot before Ender runs out of resources and eventually bleeds out? I don't know. Now, yeah, DadBot is just not dealing with this. So we are seeing something that we don't see too often in the bot games these days. Like, usually these bots are pretty on point with their defense about this kind of thing, but the burrowed unit's really tripping them up. And you can see why Ender goes for such a lurker rush strategy. I mean, we've seen burrowed roach strategies. They're incredibly strong. Now we're seeing a unit that can burrow and then attack while burrowed, and just how good that is, as these 2 lurkers may very well kill off the whole main base of DadBot, as DadBot rallies in more drones, more queens to try and mine at this base, and there's just not the smarts there for it to deal with it. Now, we do have another attack in from Ender. Ender doesn't have that strong of an economy, so I mean, if it takes a bad trade, there is a chance for DadBot here, but DadBot's in a bit of a rough spot still. In come the Ravagers. The Ravagers have been getting pretty good trades all game for DadBot. It's actually not too far behind on the resources lost. We see Corrosive Vials going down, but DadBot did lose its 3rd there. Its 4th is under fire, but I think it's going to save it in this case. It's got some Roaches and Hydras defending its natural. Another lair started, which I can only assume means that it lost its base in the main, and yes, it did. And so all these Hydras are being dealt with. Ender's going to have a hard time replacing this army, as it's just long-distance mining. And that's going to get worse and worse as all these bases really start to mine out for it, while DadBot's still mining, albeit not an incredible amount, but still enough. Now, these 2 lurkers in the main have pretty much completely cleared out the base now. They are going to reposition a little bit, and DadBot really needs to kind of assess where it's putting its units. I think it might see these unburrowed lurkers now and be on them, but no, it changes its mind. It's just got its fixed rally point. We did have a Ling come in and deal with another Ling that might have been attempting to burrow there. A creep tumor is getting dealt with. There is an Overseer here. So Ender is actually starting to get expansions up, not at the natural, or not at the natural 4th base, but it's been able to clear out some other base locations. And as a result, now it's going to be mining, and all of a sudden this game looks 1,000 times better for Ender. Not sure where those two lurkers ended up. They must have been killed off. Pardon me for missing that. This is a great game. This is a game that says, yeah, we're still watching bots, but anything can happen. I mean, I was pretty sure that Ender was just never going to expand, but now all of a sudden we see it taking more bases. So they do have the behavior, just like human players. They kind of get tripped up a little bit when it comes to dealing with things. And now we see one of these lurkers made it into the 4th base of DadBot. So DadBot's going to have to deal with this. Will it cross the bottom? No, it won't. Okay, there it goes. So that lurker almost gets dealt with. We need to see another Crucible. What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Now's your time. Now's your moment. You can be the hero. Except DadBot seems to like to leave lurkers that are just almost dead. As this one Ravager really lets us down. And supply-wise, I mean, it's still fairly even on both sides. DadBot has got the better upgrades. Ender, however, its economy is soaring. It's really saturating these bases now, getting up more and more bases. And I think we're going to be reaching the point of no stopping this. And it's like, where's the Overseer, DadBot? Come on. As these there we go. There's another Crucible that goes down. But that lurker got way more damage done than it should. DadBot's down on workers. It's up on army supply. I mean, there's always a chance it could take a good fight, and we are seeing Ender kind of rally on in here, losing infestors, get the fungal growth down on some of the Ravagers. They're still splitting away. There's Roaches and Ravagers engaging to the top, engaging to the bottom. It's a bit of a close fight. I don't think it's really going either way to an extreme degree. So I think that does indeed favor Ender. Now, Ender did lose a lot more supply. It actually took a much worse trade than it seemed like. Maybe Stutter stepping its units a bit too much. DadBot with better upgrades, more supply, did come out ahead on that. Ahead by 80 army supply. So if DadBot was going to attack, now would be the time. We see Ender building a Spire. Ender showing us that it's one of those bots that doesn't ever really stop developing. And that really is the case this game. As, yeah, it's getting out infestors, it's getting up more hatcheries, getting up all the upgrades, adrenal glands. Now it's getting seismic spines for its lurkers that have already done so good this game. And as a result, we really need to see DadBot attack on in if DadBot's going to be able to take this game. Crucible's picking off some of the overlords, but there's plenty of those to spare, it looks like. Ender on way too many drones to muster a proper army to deal with this, but if DadBot doesn't go in and it just sort of sits back at home, Ender might have the time that it needs. Okay, another Hydra Den on the way for DadBot as it's resecured its main base. It's got a new lair. Let's see, this base in the bottom right being attacked by a lurker, so DadBot is utilizing its own lurkers. This is a great game between these two. These bot ZVZs really go the distance sometimes, and we see Ender potentially going for a finishing move here. It's not just going for mutas or anything like that, it's going for a greater Spire. So this is really going to light a fire under the butt of DadBot as, yeah, these potential Broodlords coming down the line will just massacre the Ravagers and Roaches most likely. I mean, I know Crucible can kind of deal with those at times, but it is not often perfect. Okay, DadBot does clear out a base, so it's heading towards the natural. The Spire, this greater Spire is morphing. They take a long time to morph, and so it could potentially go down before any Broodlords are made. Now we see, yeah, DadBot just all over the place, attacking on in. It is not barreling towards the natural. It's got a few Ravagers there, picking off drones and working on the Queen and that sort of thing, but it looks like that Greater Spire will finish up. This game is actually pretty darn close. If we even see a few Broodlords get made, that could be all that Ender needs, but Ender, making these Corruptors, really has no units left on the ground, so it does need to morph some Broodlords. We'll see if it realizes how urgent that is, and there they are. There's the Broodlords morphing. Ender is going for those. Crucibles, however, are landing on some of them. Now, they're taking some damage. They're not dying just yet. We see another base going down for Ender. Ender's natural is still standing strong, however. So it's kind of a race now as DadBot works away on all the tech of Ender. The Broodlords are just about done. Now they can start chasing after these units, but they're still pretty darn slow. Looks like a Ling and a Ravager find the base towards the upper left side. They're not really attacking it, but they're doing pretty darn well for themselves. But this natural base is now being cleared on out. DadBot says there's a tag, it's seen a Broodlord, so it's getting an infestation pit. I'm not sure what that's for, whether that's for like vipers or what, because it could always make a spire if it wanted to, but it's not. DadBot did lose, or Ender did lose its spire, pardon me, so it's making another one of those. Now, if DadBot just attacks into these Broodlords, that could be where the Broodlords get the trades they need. There's currently 5 out, which is a pretty decent amount. It's kind of a hard number for a bot to kill with Ravagers, you imagine, but this game is actually so close. You see the main base of Ender being worked on. Both bots have a little bit of a bank to them. Yeah, and look at this. Broodlord's now chasing away the Ravagers, so while Ender is incredibly far down on supply at this point, that might not really matter too much. We see Corrosive Biles going down, but they're not really connecting on what they need to, which is the Broodlords. The Broodlords and nothing but the Broodlords. Corrosive Biles trying to hit the Broodlords, but the Broodlords are dodging most of the shots, and that's pretty darn good for Ender. We see this one Ling just slowly attacking these drones, but very, very slowly. So, I mean, Ender's still got 3 mining bases. The main base is being worked on by the rest of these Ravagers of DadBot. Ender actually says resigning, though. GG. What? No! No, this game wasn't over, Ender. No, what? No! No! This is why you don't, this is why you don't program in an end condition for your bot. I guess Ender, upon losing its main base, says that's GG, but I don't know. Was it GG? Like, I don't think it was. I think this game could have gone on a little bit longer. Like, Ender wasn't in a great position by any means, but who knows if DadBot has the capability to deal with Broodlords. And, yeah. I mean, I understand why Ender's bot does have that resigning behavior, and it's very respectful in a way, but I feel like it kind of cut it short a little bit this time. Anyway, that's a bit of an unsatisfying ending. I think we will declare DadBot the winner, though, as it did get the main. It had 70 more army supply to its name, and Ender really didn't have much production structures. It just had that spire, no lair, no greater spire, that sort of thing, so it really was limited as far as what it had. And so yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, I definitely enjoyed casting it, so hit that like button, leave a comment down below saying more bots, consider becoming a YouTube member, press that join button or use the link in the description. While you're down there, join the Discord, and subscribe if you aren't. I'll see you guys next time.